Good morning. We made it. Good morning. Good morning.
Yay!
Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning. I am welcome. I'm Melody Cloud. I'm here at my home studio in Salt Lake City, Utah. And Nina Snyder is with us today. Yay! Welcome.
Hello.
You're in Idaho?
I am. I'm just,
Is that
I
right?
guess it's about 5.5 hours north of you. I'm just north of Boise.
Okay. Boise. Okay. So I'm going to tell you why she's here in a minute. We're so excited that you're here. But I just wanted to say welcome, everyone. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We so appreciate it. Susan is in the middle of the blizzard in Massachusetts, it looks like. I was just going to mention Keisha is not here with us today. Keisha was in North Carolina over last week at QuiltCon. And then she drove from North Carolina to Hampton, Virginia last night. Well, she's on the beach in Virginia because she had a couple of days in between these doing, so she wanted to go to the beach. So instead of like, we were talking about it before she booked it, like the Outer Banks, North Carolina. I was like, just go there. She was like, I'll just go to Virginia Beach. That way I'll be closer to Hampton. So she's in Virginia Beach and there's snow on the ground in the beach. I've never seen.
That's fantastic.
It's not her idea of beach. Because she would live on a beach with sand in her toes all day, every day if she could. So it's not exactly her idea of the beach either, but she is taking a much needed day off after crazy QuiltCon. I don't know, those of you who are on social media, if I don't know if Nina, if you saw any of the photos and videos coming out of QuiltCon, but made me a little FOMO. Like I wished I had been there. But I was crazy, right? I was in Daytona Beach last week at the AQS Quilt Week quilt show there. Had a great time there. My daughter came out and helped me. Many of you came by and said hi and told us that you've been watching and you're so very sweet. I think it made my daughter think that, you know, I actually do stuff. I'm not just messing around all day.
Every once in a while, you need to surprise your daughter. Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I need them to. I have two girls and a boy, and both of my daughters have done shows with me once in a while, and so they know what it's all like. And I want to bring my son, just so he can see how those shows all come together and how much it actually takes and how much it is. But he has a job and he has a life. He's never wanted to come. So anyway, it's all fine. But
you'd never convinced my son to do that.
Yeah.
Other than, where do you want me to carry the stuff and drop it off? I'm out. See ya.
Yeah,
he'd help
that I might, I maybe could help him. I could get him to come help me with something like that. But you're right. I don't know that it would be much more than that. But anyway, QuiltCon looked like it was amazing. It looked like it was a blast. Keisha and her husband was there. Madison was there with her, and they had a great time at QuiltCon. Like I said, they're taking a much needed break. But today we are here to check in on everybody with our February monthly challenge. And we brought Nina along because she has a special way of doing flying geese, which I've never seen happen. And I'm very excited about it. Like you guys may have seen, I just tried my first flying geese. And I felt like I did pretty good, but then they didn't line up right. And it stressed me out. And then Lori sent me a text message during the live last time saying, just do this to fix it. So I took Lori's and I sort of fixed it. And so now I'm, well, here, I'll show you. So she's like, just make like a little border, because the end ones ended up longer. Am I doing this? The end ones, the purple one here and the red one on this side ended up longer than the middle lines did. And so I just added a little extra border so that they all kind of matched up. So this fabric, tell me I'm crazy without telling me I'm crazy. This fabric I got from the same booth at Road to California. So all of these designs in these little tulips are the same designs that are in the fabric from the Flying the Quilt. The same design as those. And so I use this as the backing, and I'm going to try free motion quilting first time. So I'm going to try to quilt around the tulips from the back so that that's what the quilting design will be on the front. So say a little prayer for me. That's what I was thinking of doing.
Yeah.
We'll see if I actually do it or not. We'll see. We'll see. But
Yeah, so you can
Nina
have
does
like,
go ahead.
so you're going to have like a double-sided quilt. You're not doing those separate. You want flying geese on one side and the flowers on the other.
Yes. That's what I'm
Okay.
thinking. We'll see.
Okay.
I tried last night. I tried last night to go around one of them, and I didn't do terrible. But I didn't like the way the thread looked on the flying geese side of the quilt. And so I took it all out. I decided I'm going to do it with the clear thread. So you don't see like white or something like that show up. So I'm going to try it that way. I'm going to try one more of those. And if I hate it, then I'm changing my mind and maybe take the back off and use that for something else and just make a solid back. We'll see how it goes. I don't know.
Okay.
I've learned that you can just change your mind as you go, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's a design it's a design decision. It's not a pattern requirement.
And coming from the world of scrapbooking that I did for so long, there was never any mistakes. It's just new design opportunities. And so that's kind of what I'm telling myself this is. So
absolutely,
we will see how it goes. Yes. So we are in the middle of our February monthly challenge. It is flying geese. You guys can, so many of you have sent in photos. You can send them into support@cutterpillar.com if you finish something. You can your own social media with the hashtag CP challenge, and you can put them in our Dropbox through our blog, or you can post them in our Cutterpillar Creations Hub Facebook group. Any of those will get anything that you do counts. It doesn't have to be a quilt. It doesn't have to be a full border. Keisha made one flying geese block, and we were so proud of her that she did it, and that counts. Anything counts. But Nina does her flying geese different than any other thing that I've seen. When you mentioned it the first time, you blew me away with the idea of it. You do it foundation paper piecing style.
I do. I definitely do. I first tried flying geese, I want to say, oh goodness, I think it was like 2019, something like that. And I found this one pattern, and I have 4 nieces from my husband's brother. And I found this pattern. I thought it was lovely. And it has 854 flying geese in each quilt. And I was going to make all 4 of them the same quilt in different colorways. No, that didn't happen. One girl got the flying geese, and the other 3 got something different. But I learned really quickly that that's hard, and I was having a really hard time not losing points on either this corner or that corner, or I chop off the top. I was like, no matter what I did, I couldn't get successful with it, and I very quickly said, I'm not doing flying geese ever again. However, the inside of me said, I like the look of flying geese. Okay, I'm going to try this again. And I still wasn't, I still wasn't really 100% successful. I tried another pattern, writer's pattern, where it was a bag, and she actually kind of quilts as you go, doing it on the soft and stable. It's like a foam stabilizer, and she does it as she goes. And, it worked out sorta, but my flying geese, instead of being, flying geese like they do, it kind of did this.
Right.
And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it perfectly straight, and it made me absolutely wonky. And I was like, Nina, you're not a dummy. You know how to foundation paper piece. In fact, you're an instructor for Legit Kits. You teach foundation paper piecing. Why don't you just do it that way? And then you can be successful. So that's kind of why I started doing all of mine that way, and it worked out. And I want to tell you how it began, because you don't need anything fancy. Can I go? You good? If I just start with that?
Please go in. Let's do it. I want to know. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Please do.
All right. So I literally grabbed my kids' graph paper. I mean, like, you can see it's like falling apart here. And I was like, well, this pattern I'm looking at says that they finish at 2 inches wide by 1 inch high. So I just took my pen out and I started drawing that. And I realized this would make it so much easier. My foundation paper piecing background made me realize that this is not going to make a crooked goose. And then I'm like, okay, so some people need numbers. So I drew it again, and I just put numbers on it, so I know what is piece 1, what is piece 2, what order would this go in if I were to teach this. It's that simple. And then this is actually graph paper, so I wouldn't want to sew on graph paper. I took foundation paper, foundation paper piecing paper. Good, that's a tongue twister. Can you say that 3 times real fast? And I
Not on a
and I
Monday, I can't.
literally it's a newsprint is what it is. So this paper
Right.
tears very easily. And I just took my diagram to my own printer and did this um, because it was fast. And then when I was talking with you guys, the easier way to do this so that everybody has an opportunity to have the same document is I just went to a program that I have on my computer called EQ8, and I just drew one up real quick that looks like this. So everybody would have the same opportunity. Just one goose. I call this one just one goose. And this way you can practice making one goose and see what it's like. And then I also went and drew up another one that's a free download also, that has 4 of them. And you'll just see that there's some colors on here and there's numbers on here so you can tell what piece would be first. I mean, it's that simple. So but even better, doing this with Cutterpillar products means with my light board, I don't have to stand in front of the window with the light coming through the back and trying to put an image right here. And
Yeah.
it's one thing if you're using, like, say, the fabric that you showed me that has flowers all through it and it's a repeating pattern. But if you want to go and take someone's fabric like Tula Pink and you want to put one of her really cute animals right in the middle of that triangle, foundation, paper piecing, and the Caterpillar light board, that whole system, that's your jam. That's the way to do it. And so that's what I wanted to show you guys today.
I
Is
love it.
actually
I love it.
doing that. Do you want to jump in and do one of those now?
Yeah. Yeah,
all
I
right.
would love for you to show us, but I think we have a link to Nina's
Yeah.
blog for those downloads, right? So Eric's gonna find that and put that in the chat for us so that you guys can all get a free download from Nina for this, so you can try to do this. And I'm gonna look weird, but I'm gonna watch intently because I'm scared of foundation paper piecing, so I want to see how
Yeah.
we do this.
Well, so let me just say before I move my camera as well, let me grab that other one. Here he is again. I call these practice pieces because they're just, grab your scraps. None of these are really large pieces, right? They're just independent. They don't belong to any particular pattern right now. So just grab a bag of scraps and start to practice with these. However, this is a single and you'd have to figure out what to do with that later. This one, once you master the single and you do this, this is a whole panel of 4 geese. They're flying somewhere. You could print this a bunch of times on foundation paper and do a number of them and create the quilt back like what you have done, Melody. Or you could take something like this, and this is my jean jacket here, but you could then, I don't know if you guys can see that, you could sew it right onto the back of the jean jacket. You could also save it and put it on another project like something like this. Instead of a plain fabric cover, you could have flying geese on the front. So don't think this one's a waste of fabric. You can do a bag, a jacket, a project, and these are going to be like, golden.
That
because
is
they're going to
amazing.
be straight. Yeah, they'll be straight.
I'm
and
not
won't
sure.
make the points.
I'm not sure, Nina, if you can see the comments, but Jana was wondering if you've ever tried freezer paper piecing before.
I have, and so I'm a Legit Kit certified instructor, and I teach Legit Kits. So, for example, one of the quilts that I've done has 2,400 pieces of fabric. So I wouldn't be able to do that with freezer papers. The difference would be this I'm going to do multiple times. So freezer paper would make sense, right? It's the same exact shape, the same exact size, and I would do it over and over and over again. So freezer paper would be great. But in essence, it's kind of like having a template. So when I do a Legit Kit quilt, it has, for example, the Firefighter, 2,400 pieces of fabric, and every single piece is different. So freezer paper wouldn't work there, and it wouldn't work. So you can see my Kraken in the background. There's his eyeballs there. Not a single one of these pieces of fabric is the same. So the freezer paper version, it wouldn't work for what I tend to do most. But it does work. It totally works.
Beautiful.
But it's just a different method. So to do this guy, I'm going to have to move my camera. So you'll have to bear with me a moment while I get the back camera on so you guys can see what I'm doing. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that is so great. And that totally makes sense. I was watching tutorials recently because you were going to come do this. I was watching the freezer paper ones over the weekend and some legit kit ones or whatever because I wanted to see if I could figure out foundation paper piecing in my brain first. But that makes sense if you're doing the same thing over and over again because you sew next to the paper on the freezer paper ones, right?
Exactly. And when you sew on this, you're just going to tear it off and it's a goner. So I want to make sure. Can you
Gotcha.
see?
Okay.
Can you see my sewing machine?
Yes.
This is my
Yes.
1936 painted featherweight that I told you about before.
Yes. It's
So
so great. Yes.
yeah, you don't need anything fancy for this. You just need an open toe. So basically I can see where the needle is going up and down, and you need a straight stitch. You need to make your stitching very small. So on my featherweight, that's about somewhere close to the 18, 20, 22 on what would be my stitch length. On a fancy machine, like if you're using one that has computerized version, you're probably going to take that down to a 1.5 or a 1.8 when you stitch. And the reason why you want it really small is you, on these lines right here, that's where we're going to stitch. These are sew lines. So when the paper comes off, right, and I go to pull the paper off the back of something, if those stitches are big, chances are I'm going to pull the stitching out. So I want the stitching to be really tiny. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yep.
Okay, good. Want to make sure I don't lose you. So I am going to brighten up my light board here. Oh, I touched it one too many times. All right. So here is our pattern piece, and I just grabbed some fabric here. Look at how cute that is. That I was
So
going
cute.
to, yeah, I want to put him right in the middle of that triangle. So here's where it gets a little bit different when you're doing foundation paper piecing. We're going to put that little hamster right in the middle of this triangle. So what we have to do is we have to take our pattern piece first and turn it upside down so you can still see the lines right there. And what I'm going to do is take a glue stick. This is repositional glue. So I don't want a lot of glue, but I want to be able to hold the fabric right in the middle of that triangle. And I like that repositional because if I put it down and it's not on right, I can pick him up and move him. So I'm going to put him here. My fabric now is, the pattern is pattern side down where the lines are facing down. The fabric is the hamster side up. Okay, so I have wrong sides together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now I'm going to flip that over just because it's easier to see with my Cutterpillar light board if I center my little hamster guy. And it's not perfect, but there's that glue. I'm just pushing it down there. Now you can see definitely that he's right in the middle of the triangle. And that's where we want him. So now I'm going to take something called an add a quarter ruler, and it has a sharp edge right here, like a beveled edge, which helps me fold fabric. And on this side, it helps me catch it with this lip, and it helps me cut straight right here with my cutter. So what we're going to just simply do, and this says A1, so that's piece A1. This is going to be where we're going to put piece A2. So we have to trim and get ready for piece A2. So I'm going to put that beveled edge right on that sew line right there. And I'm going to bring this guy back. And I'm just going to fold my fabric, my paper, and then I'm going to put the ruler back down on top of it. Do you see how it caught that?
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
so
go,
cool.
so it holds it steady for me. And now I'm going to trim this fabric. Woo, don't need that. That's simple. So what this ruler did is it created a seam allowance for me that's exactly a 1/4 inch based on where that lip was. So now I'm going to fold this back and I'm just going to look at it. You can kind of see it better through the silhouette right here. Yeah. So now we
Yes.
take it and we want to put it fabric side up. I like to jump right into this kind of stuff because I get excited.
No,
And
this is so
now,
great. This is making
yeah,
more sense in my brain than anything else has. So this is
yes,
so awesome.
yeah.
Okay.
So you have to do back and forth and a back and forth, but it will make a whole bunch of sense. Now here's where you have a couple of choices. This is going to be my fabric number 2, and I can see here's how far my fabric needs to go. That's the end of the seam allowance right there, and that's the end of the seam allowance right here. So the rectangle will finish out right underneath my fabric right here. You can
Okay.
also see it needs to go all the way up to where my pointer is and it needs to go there. So we need the piece of fabric to cover all of that. So I take piece number 2 and now I'm going to do right sides together. I'm going to line up this straight edge with this straight edge, right sides together. So the pattern side faces each other, just like that. Now you have a choice. I don't like to use pins because I don't want to ruin this paint job on my featherweight. So I use a product. Yeah, it would stress me out. I use a
Yeah.
product called Acorn Piecing Glue, and I literally will move this over to my pressing mat right here. And all I'm going to do is put a couple dabs of the pressing glue right on the edge of that fabric right there. And I'm going to take a hot iron to set that glue. Hopefully it was hot enough. Yeah, almost hot enough. Hot enough for show business. But
Hot
what's
enough.
that? Yeah, but what's that? See what it's done? It's not falling
Right.
off. So it's just kept it there. And this glue will wash off right away. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm now going to turn it pattern side up. So you can see that line and where I need to sew. And I'm going to move it over to my sewing machine and I'm going to drop my foot and then I'm going to hold on to my tails on this particular machine, my thread tails, and I'm dropping the needle and I am this side of where I want to sew. And I'm going to sew this dark black line toward myself. So I'm going to hold the threads and I'm going to go with a teeny tiny stitch length. And I'm just keeping the needle right on top of this black line. So there is a theory out there that if you're learning how to sew and you learn how to paper piece before you do any other piecing, you learn how to go pretty darn straight and you learn what a 1/4 inch seam looks like really fast because it's all built in for you there. So
Yeah, I
that's our
can see
piece.
that. Yeah.
And what we're going to
Okay.
do now is we're going to take our piece and we are going to put it now quilt side up. And I'm just going to take it with my fingers because I usually have hot hands and I finger press that a little bit. So in paper piecing, it's really important that your seams are flat. So can you see that it's a little bit bumpy right here?
Yes.
Like it. So if I were to try and attach the next piece without really pressing that good, this is where you lose your points because you could end up doing something like I just did like this. See that? We don't want to do that. That's how you get a crooked goose. So we want it to be nice and straight. So I take another product, an Acorn product. This is a starch pen. So it just allows me to put a little bit of starch right where I want it on this seam. Come back to my felt mat. And I just got the glass mat, but I don't have enough space to do the pressing and the
Right.
cutting in this little camera. But I've been using it this weekend and I actually really like it.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I really like it because it warms up the glass. And someone mentioned, and I didn't realize it, but when you use the glass mat for this, because you can, because it warms the glass up a little bit. It's like putting a clapper on it without having to put a clapper on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked really, really well, but I needed my studio to be in the actual, production stage, not in the let's get on camera stage. But you can see how
Absolutely.
flat this is. Yeah, this is like really flat now, so it's perfect. So what we have to do now is there's an order of events. We have to trim, we have to line up, then we sew, and then we start over again, and we press open and start over again. So we're going to go back to this side, which is pattern side, and you can see here my fabric is definitely well past that triangle. You see it?
Funny.
And it's
Yep.
plenty over here. So now we're going to trim this line because this is our last piece. So we take our ruler over here and we start exactly the same way. We put it on the seam line that we're going to want to sew, and we're going to pull this back. We're just going to release some of the paper from the stitch line that we had just created. And just make that nice fold. Flatten it. Take the ruler again. We're going to cut that. No fingers were damaged in this demonstration. I just want to point that out.
That's good. Because
And again,
sometimes.
yeah, but sometimes, yes. Okay, so I just want to point this out. You can again see how perfect that 1/4 inch seam is going to be where I'm going to sew the next one. And I'm going to flip it again. Now I am going to be fabric side up. And I can see where my triangle needs to go. And when you question yourself, you can take your fabric like this and lay it down and go, where am I? I completely
Right.
cover
And
that
then you can
triangle.
see with your Glow premium light board right there, you can see how much
Yeah.
fabric you have.
Totally. You can see what's going on. And what was really important for me, I was really excited. This mat that I have on top of my board is the one that doesn't have the grid lines. When
Right.
I'm doing this, because I'm not using the grid lines, it's so important to have this one without the ruler underneath it. So I have both. And when I'm doing this, I use the one without the grid lines.
Beautiful.
So I like to take this guy back.
So we
And
just have a quick question. They want to know where you got the starch pen.
oh, this is an Acorn product. I went to my local, let me show you. I went to my local quilt shop, and it's a set. This is an old pen, so it's missing all of the um, marks, the tags, and all that good stuff. This is
Right.
a small bottle that you refill this pen with. So you buy the pen with this refill bottle, and as needed, you keep refilling this pen. And these nibs are also replaceable, so you can get that as well. This little cup, I'm sorry, a girlfriend of mine, she took the lid, put it in this shot glass, and her daughter helped her make the, what do you call that stuff? That, the hard plastic that you can pour. Uh,
Yeah.
and and there you go. Now I have my little glue pen on my desk. But these are the two products right there.
Beautiful. Thank
I'm
you for
sure,
that. That's really cool.
yeah, pretty sure they're on Amazon as well, but try your local shop first. So I'm just going
Yes.
to heat the glue up again just to hold it there. And I'm coming back to my machine. And truth be told, I use that now even when I'm doing like a 9 patch. I want the
Oh,
seam to be
okay.
perfect. So
Yeah.
I'm hooked. And now I'm back this side of where I want to be. And I'm just gonna sew right on that line. We are running. Look at that.
That is so great. Yep.
And we just trim our threads here. I don't have the fancy dancy button with this machine. And we're just going to take that. You can see it there. We're just going to press that open. I'm going to come back over here, get a little starch on that guy. And then it doesn't look like a flying goose right now because it looks like a hamster with wings, right? But when you turn this
Right.
over and you take a different ruler, I like to use these Quilter Select rulers because this side has got like a little rubbery nest to it, and I will put this one right where the seam allowance is going to be. So you can see how there's two lines right here. The dark line is the sew line. This outer dotted line is your seam allowance. I'm going to go ahead and trim this entire page. Just cut that off. And then I'm going to trim this one. I just put my arm on that light. If you want the light back, I can put it back on.
No,
There.
it's okay. I do that all the time.
I usually will spin it around when I'm at a retreat. That way I don't do it a whole lot because it
Yes. Yeah.
happens.
Same. Yeah. Same. But sometimes when you're doing things like this, you got to go where the power
Yeah.
goes. But
Yes.
I'll just mention the little special that we have for the month of February. Monthly challenge kit has the Glow Premium, which is cordless. So you would be able to flip that around and not worry about it. And the glass mat and the clear mat all come with it, I believe, this month. So we have that
Yeah.
all in special this month.
This
Also.
is the cordless one. I have the old original one where it's green right
Oh,
here.
yep.
And I have that in my, because I'm a creature of habit. It's in my locker at the local quilt shop where I do ladies' night out sewing. So I
Oh,
was
fun.
really excited. Were you ready for a reveal here?
I'm
What I've
so
done,
ready. I'm so excited.
right? I've trimmed this. Oh, you're that excited. Hold on.
Look how perfect that is.
And your
Oh,
little guy, your little critter is smack in the middle. So you have a couple of options here. You can print that page, this guy here, from the download multiple times and do singles just like this. And literally you could do another one. And let's pretend this one was finished. You would just take him and line it up on right sides together.
right.
And then you'd have another one and another one and another one. You could do them as singles just like that. Or you can take the other download that I've created for you and you can do this guy. And so if you do this one, here's number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and you just keep going until you're off the page. So I started him. I thought you might want to see that one as well. Do we have time for another one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please. No, like I'm in awe because I did mine the other way, the original way.
Okay.
And and where you do like the big block and the big square and the little squares, and it was like 4 at a time, whatever.
Yeah.
And my first row I was happy with, my second row I was happy with, but then I have the 2 rows that ended up the wrong size by just about 1/8 of an
Oh,
inch here and there, I think. And so like the
right.
whole, but if I did it that way,
They
4 in
would
a
all be the
row,
same. Hmm.
they all would be the same and they would all would line up.
So I previously did these. I just want to show you these. You can see how I could sew these together without them being crooked. Like what I was just
Yeah.
explaining. I would just take this one here and sew this line right here.
Right.
And there you have 2. And then
Oh,
after you trim this one, you would end up with 3. So you can stick with this one at a time until you get comfortable doing it just like that with the sizes.
right.
Or when you start to feel like you're ready, then you're going to get your next one out. Let's see where I have started here. You're going to start here. I have a bunch of these that I got started. Okay, I'm going to show you a finished one first, just so it makes sense, side by side. So,
Oh,
and then I can show you, we'll make this guy.
okay.
But what I have done here is I love Tula Pink, can you tell? I've
A little
literally
bit,
just
yeah.
taken her crazy little animals because they're so much fun and a solid for the wings. Something I learned early on in quilting is I joined this thing where you make something for somebody else and then you guys swap. And I thought her favorite color was pink. Well, I did all of these things in pink and then I did these like in another pink, but there wasn't enough contrast. And so it
Gotcha.
just, I chopped up fabric, sewed it back together, and it looked like the same thing. So when you do flying geese, your challenge is to make sure that you have some contrast between what's in the goose and what's in the wings, right? So that it
Right.
pops. So you can really see this. That's the challenge. So to do 4 like this, you just take the same, the printout that you have, just like the other one. And Melody, can you tell me what that first step was? Do you remember?
Okay, so the first step, you flip your paper over,
You
and
got it.
then you put your fabric right side up, so you're doing wrong sides together. Then
Okay.
you fold back the paper, then you trim the fabric. Did I get it?
You missed one thing.
Dang it. Okay.
This part.
Oh
You
yeah.
totally
Glue
had
it
it.
down to hold
So
it. Yeah.
you want to glue that right there. Otherwise, it will slide around on you. That first piece, your first piece is completely your anchor. And so you really want 1, 2, 3. You really want that first piece to get anchored down there. So you're going
Okay.
to, this will be my first piece. And what I can't see, because I have this light on up here versus just this light down here,
Right.
I would normally, when I would be at like my sewing places, I would turn this off because their overhead lights are so light, and then I'd be able to see what's going on underneath. But for today,
Right.
I've put the glue there. It's repositionable so I can move it and see where I'm at. And there it is, right? And you can
Right.
see
And
the
so
silhouette.
you don't really need to glue any of the rest of them, just the first one, because
Yeah,
then you're anchored, right? Gotcha. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to put glue all over here because it could get sticky on my sewing machine. It won't hurt anything, but it's just extra. So you don't need the extra. So we would
Right.
basically do this piece exactly like we just did before. And I have one that's almost, it has the wings on there, but you were absolutely right. So after this, what would be the first thing I'm going to do here? Can you remember?
You're gonna flip it over. You're gonna take your ruler. You're gonna fold
Yeah.
you're gonna fold the line that goes to the number 2 piece.
So this is the number 2 piece. And what I would need to do is I would need to fold this one here, just like this, right? Fold it,
Right.
turn it over,
Fold
and
it
trim it.
and then trim it at 1/4 of an inch. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip ahead because I really want to show you what it's like to add a second one on there.
Yes.
So this is where we was right here. I would trim it,
Yes.
then I'd turn it to this
Flip it
side,
over. Okay.
sew this line, press it, and then I would trim this side,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Sew it and flip it over. Is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to take over from here so that we can keep doing all 4. So we cannot do this really cute one right here until we get this trimmed up. So now we
Right.
do
Okay.
turn this, we turn this guy over, and then just a little more room if I turn it this way. And now I'm taking that beveled edge right here and I'm just going to fold it back right here. And now I'm going to turn this ruler over and I'm going to trim all this extra off. Some people really freak out about this kind of thing. All this stuff
Yeah.
over here, totally don't bother me. Just leave it there. At the very end, we'll trim the outline and you don't have to worry about it at all. So this is the easy part. Just leave it. And now we're going to take that cute cat that we were looking at, what we want to go next. So we have to
Okay.
turn it over. And we want to make sure that it's going to end up inside that triangle. So all I'm doing is kind of bending my fabric a little bit. I can't glue this guy because it needs to match that. So I'm going to look at this and flip it and make sure, see how it's not high enough right here? Do you
Yeah.
see that? So
Yep.
you know you need a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to pull this back a little bit and now look at it and see if she's still in there. And I have a little bit more than a 1/4 inch and I have my 1/4 inch down here. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
I also make sure that I'm wide enough at these corner pieces as well. And that's where I always went wrong with my traditional flying geese is I would be off like here. And then now I would be, what do I do? How do I cover that mess? So this just works for me.
Okay, so I have a quick question. Do you remove the paper after each of these flying geese or just after the group of 4?
I wouldn't remove them until I sewed the group of 4 onto something else. I
Oh, okay.
there's just unless it really bothers you, there's no reason to even get rid of it. So let me bring this guy back. So this guy is still attached.
Yes.
I would
Okay, so
trim.
you're just saving that until you have somewhere to put it.
Yeah, it's keeping it stable right now. And so
Love
let's
that.
say
Okay.
let's say I wanted to put this onto my jacket. I would just trim this at the dotted line right here because that's the edge of my fabric. And so then
Mhm.
all you would see is that. And then I would take it to my jacket and I would probably sew it down
Zigzag
and
it.
then I'd put like a binding strip around the edge of it to kind of
Mm.
frame it or something like that and it would be
Yep.
done.
Yep. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That
So
makes sense.
going back to this guy, all I have to do now is set that heat on the seam right here.
Yep.
And now, and also with
That's
legit kits, I don't take the paper off of those either until it's all done. So I literally will sit on my couch with a big sheet on top of me, the kind with the elastic on it, so it's curled up at the edge, and have a
uh-huh.
rip. I just rip all the paper at once, and then pick up that big old sheet full of paper and go to the garbage can.
So when you do your big legit quilts, you leave the paper until all of the pieces are sewn together and your whole quilt top is done?
98% of the time.
Cool. Gotcha.
There's a moment of a few pieces where a teeny tiny corner is going to get covered by another corner and I need to pull that little bit of paper out. So
Gotcha. Makes
98% of
sense.
the time I don't do it until the very, very end.
Okay.
So this is the seam that we need to sew right now is this one right here for the next triangle.
Okay.
So I'm going to drop my foot. I'm holding my thread tails here and I'm going to go all the way across. Whee! Sometimes this is the longest part, but I find that this is, once you do it a couple times, so easy that you can go to like, a sewing thing like I do, a ladies' night out, and you're just having snacks and chit chatting away because it's
Yeah.
become it's just easy. There he is. There's a little bit of fuzz right here, so I'm going to straighten that out. I'm just going to fold it back again. So see how there's just this,
Yep.
this will drive me nuts. I don't want these loose threads. So I'm going to cut those and get rid of that. Now it's nice and straight. So now the part that you've been waiting for, flip it back over again. And I'm just going to take my fabric and now just with my fingers, because they're warm, I'm going to do that. Take it to the pressing mat. And then I'm going to just warm this up right here, there, and take the hot iron. Before I take the hot iron, I want to show you something. I am not pulling this really tight. I'm not I'm not playing tug of war right here. If I did, you'd see thread here. And
Right.
in this instance, I used a gray thread. So even if I did do that, you might not see the thread so much. But let's say I had black here and white here, and I went like this, you would see the stitching. So I'm not tug of warring. I'm just flattening it.
Okay.
I don't want to see those seams. I want the threads coming out of the seams.
Gotcha.
That's what they'll tell you when you enter a quilt in a quilt show, that they can see your stitches. You don't
That's the
want that.
difference.
Yeah,
You don't want that.
you don't want that part. That's when they don't want to see the stitches. They want the fancy
Yes.
stuff out here, not the stuff in your seam right here.
Right.
So now we're just ready to trim again. So we're going to flip it back over to this side. And we just
We're
did
gonna-
4. So we're going to 5. So we're just going to put it on that line, fold the paper. And I took my stitch line beyond where that fold was going to be. And all I didn't take any stitches out. I just pulled the paper back from that spot right there. So I want to show you a
Okay.
trick. This paper will rip if you really manhandle it. This is not anything to be worried about, but there could be a situation where I accidentally go, oh,
Oh, whoops. Right.
yeah. This is just standard washi tape.
Okay.
And I try to get it where it's something that I can see through. And I'll just put it right on top of what I just tore by accident. It hasn't interfered with any of the lines. I can still see them and I'm still good to go. So I just wanted you to have a trick there.
That's great. I have bins of washi tape from my paper crafting days. So
Oh, good. Yeah, I
that
like
would be
the
nice
really,
to use it.
yeah, and I like the really colorful stuff, but the trick is to be able to still see the lines. So
Right.
look for your pastels and light colors.
Right. Makes sense.
So now we're ready to do piece 5. So we're going to now flip this over again. It's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
And I just cut these arbitrarily without measuring them. I looked at this triangle and cut a whole stack of them knowing they were going to fit. But technically I could just take my scrap bucket and find things that are going to fit. So if you're
Right.
doing it all scrappy, you can still do that as well. So I just add a little bit of this. And again, if you like pins, you rock on and put pins in your stuff. If you were going to put pins in this, you want to make sure you're nowhere near where you're going to sew. So the pins would just hold the fabric out here, right? It's not
Okay.
going to move if I did.
Right.
But
Okay.
you don't want to run over pins.
No, especially on your cute machine there.
No, on any machine, running over pins is frowned upon.
It is frowned upon.
All
I
right.
used to run over pins when I was younger all the time. My mother used to get so mad at me.
What,
Take those pins out. Take those pins out.
What? I think we used to do stuff like this, right? We'd have the pins in here like
Yeah.
that. And we would just
Yes.
keep sewing. It was
Yes.
okay. Yeah. It's no. We don't do that anymore.
I always felt like, well, back when I was always, as long as I don't hit the pin, it's totally fine, right? And my mom would always get so mad at me about it, but I kept doing it. I ran them over all the time.
There.
I don't still have that machine.
No, I
That
just
might
got
be
this.
why.
Yeah, I don't have my old original machine either. Oh my goodness. The things we used to sew on.
Oh my
But
gosh, right?
I do have the original. It's not a featherweight. I forget the number, but it's the little child's version one. That's the little mini thing. And I used to play
Yeah.
on them. My sister and I used to make all kinds of goofy things with that. It was my
Oh,
mom's.
that's cool. I love
Yeah.
that.
So again, see how it's not a perfect flatness, which I like.
Yep.
Flat. Flat as a board is what we want right here.
Yes.
And that will make you more successful. Anytime you have something that's pulled out of whack, stretched, like I said, or if you press that, if I had pressed that when it wasn't open all the way, that's when your seams don't match up.
Right,
So
right,
now
right.
it's
Gotcha.
not so fun. We're going to flip her over again. And do you like cats? I picked cats because I had this green fabric.
I love the cats. It's so funny when I was in Daytona with my daughter. My oldest daughter was with me, and she is a self-proclaimed cat lady. So as we were wandering around looking at all the quilts, she was just in awe of any of them that had cats on it.
Oh, that's
Now
hilarious.
she wants me to make her a bag with cats on it, and I've
I'll
never
have to
done a
mail
bag
this.
either. So,
I'll have to mail this to you.
oh my gosh,
Yeah, we're not.
if I put that
people.
on a tote bag, she would die. She would
Oh,
just die.
I'll have to do that. I'll have to send it to you,
She
or
would
just make the bag.
die.
All right. So now we're just going with this piece right here is number 6. And we just keep going. You see how it's going to be just right.
Yep. Yep.
Right there. I love this green color, as you can tell, the machine is green.
It's so pretty.
So it's just fun. And then.
So while you're sewing that next one, Jana has a question. She wants to know if you have any tips to make sure that you sew on the line. Sometimes she goes off of the line.
She might need to slow down. Like I get carried away. I'm super fast. I have another machine that does like 1,600 stitches an inch. It just goes or a minute or
Yeah,
whatever it is. It's like crazy. But I will go crooked on that. So this does not have a stitch regulator. Those fancier machines have like a slide right here and a
right,
turtle and a rabbit. Put it on the
right.
turtle. Put it on the turtle for a while so that you can
Okay,
see. And then the other mistake a lot of people make is my foot pedal is what generates my needle to go up and down, right? That's my motor.
right,
That's my gas pedal and my brake. I let up, I slow down. I push harder, we go faster. My hands have nothing to do with faster or slower. So we're not holding on to this for dear life and we're not
right.
shoving it through to go faster. This is the steering wheel. All I'm doing is driving how straight I go with my hands. So this is a very light touch. And all I'm doing, you can see it's gonna, I don't know if you can see that far, it hits the base of my neck of my sewing machine. I just wanna
Yeah.
make sure it doesn't get in the way, because that could make me go crooked as well. So I'm gonna
Oh,
hold it back.
gotcha. That makes sense. Like, cause that's what I think I find when I've been doing stuff is when I'm rolling things up and I want one with a bigger throat because of that,
Mhm.
because I keep shoving stuff through and it tugs, it kind of pulls away.
Yeah, and it can, you can have something behind your machine over here and this end can hit, that will also make you
Yes,
unsuccessful. So it's
that
just
makes
really
sense.
important that you remember your hands are the steering wheel. They only go left, right. It's your foot
Right.
pedal that does the speed. And the way you can tell if you're kind of doing it wrong, if you're hanging on for dear life and you're watching your stitch length, let's say you had it at a 3 and it's a nice regular stitch length that, of course I don't have a pen to show you, but you can see the spacing is perfect. And then all of a sudden it's like ding, 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 they're almost on top of each other and then they even out a little bit. What do you think
Yep.
happened?
I think you're snagged on something, right? Like you bumped into something, you got stuck.
Or you're holding on for dear life and you're
Yeah.
not
Yep. Yep.
letting the feed dogs bring the material through the machine.
Yeah,
So
that makes
that's
sense.
that's when those things happen, that's when you tend to go crooked. So
Gotcha.
you need to set yourself up for success by clearing your space.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do the next one. And I literally will do this. You can ask my husband. He will say it's no lie all day. All day. Because
That is so great.
it's like super enjoyable. So there's two kitties. So should we do another one? Do you want to finish this one? Do
Yeah,
you want
let's do
to, all
it.
right, let's do it.
Yeah,
So
let's roll through it.
how about you tell me what's next?
Okay, so now we need our next base triangle will be our next piece. So I'm guessing you take your ruler and you go across that pink triangle, across the
Yes,
bottom of it to fold the paper back, and
that's
then
right.
trim that across. Yeah.
Yep, so I'm using the pointy side of this particular ruler to fold the paper back. And
Okay.
while it's folded back, just like
Then
you
you'll
said,
trim it off.
I'm gonna flip this over so it's now the thick side of this ruler that makes it straight right here. And now I'm gonna
And
trim off.
do you have a favorite quarter inch, add a quarter inch brand type ruler? Which one is that one that you're using?
This is add a quarter plus is what this one's called. It's
Okay.
add a quarter. They make it in
Okay.
yellow, but they came out with this pink one not too
That's
long
cute.
ago. Well, for me, I don't know, I think it was a year ago. And I was always using the yellow ones, but the pink ones kind of made me happy. And like I said, I have a locker at the sewing store, so I needed double the stuff.
You know, that's what I do with all of my toiletries because I go to so many shows. I have a
Oh,
grab bag of all of my, I have doubles of everything for that same reason.
there you
So I
go.
get
So
that. I totally
yeah,
get that.
what's next?
Okay, so now you got to take your next cat paper. You got to
Mhm.
flip your paper over
Right?
and make sure that she's lined up in the triangle that you want.
Yeah,
And
that
then
it's
you're
gonna,
putting it right sides together.
yep. So that looks pretty
You want
good
to
to
make sure
me.
she fits.
So I'm gonna turn it
Make sure you've
here
got your quarter inch.
and she's
Yep.
centered and
Yep.
it's going to be just right there. And there's enough
Yep.
space here and enough space here.
Okay, then you're gonna glue that down a little bit to hold it in place, right?
Yep, right here.
And okay. I
And
think that was the thing that kind of I like that you're using little bits of glue to hold that stuff down because I think that's where I was kind of like, how do you know like how, it's not going to move? You know you want your
yeah, this
patterns where
is,
they
yeah,
go and
and
everything. Yeah.
this is kind of a longer strip and I really could put pins in here, but this might
Yeah.
flop open and then that's when you end up with this kind of thing happening like that. Have you ever,
Right,
how many
right.
of you have sewn a seam and this has happened and you
Oh
didn't
my
find out
gosh.
until you were ready to go to the long armor and there's a hole in the middle of your quilt?
So
So
very many
yeah,
times.
So this is just I really like this. It's just it makes me successful. So
Yeah.
some people really hate it. I have a girlfriend who I taught to use this, but when I looked over because her pieces were still coming apart, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Show me what you're doing." She was forgetting to use the heat. You have to set it with the heat.
You have to set it with the heat. Yep.
And so it wasn't gluing her piece at all. And so once she got that, she's rocking and rolling. So
I love that. And I appreciate all the little tips of like, well, if this happens, this is what you do instead or whatever. I think that's so great because I think that's the thing when I very first started using that kind of glue, I was using it on a binding on one of my projects and
yeah,
I didn't heat set it. And I was like, it's not sticking. It's not sticking. And I was so mad. But then I was like, oh, right. You got to do the other part. You got to do
it's
all the parts.
so the person that when I went to Legit Kits, she taught this little acronym to remember. It was tiny little stitches indeed is what she used. Those four
Uh-huh.
words. Tiny is the T for trim. Little is line up. Stitches is sew, and then indeed I is iron. So it was tiny little stitches indeed. Trim, line up, sew, iron.
I
It's
love
like
that.
it's a process. So I thought that was pretty genius. What's next?
Yeah, that's what Darla was saying just also earlier. She says she makes up little sayings as well to remember important things. And she does foundation paper piecing with TSP,
Oh,
trim, sew,
li-
press, TSP. I
literally the
love that.
same thing. Yeah. There you
Yep, yep,
go.
yep. Okay, so now you're going to fold on your next line, which I would say number 2, but it's not number 2 because you're up further. But that on
Yeah.
the next one, you're going to
That's
fold
eight.
that back
Yeah.
and trim that off.
So there's 12 total on this page, and that's number
12.
eight
So
right
we're on
there.
number 8. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll
So we're
fold
just
that
gonna,
paper back and then you'll flip your ruler around.
yeah. And I do have to just peel that back a little bit. You see that?
Yep,
There.
yep, yep.
And there's enough fabric on this piece. You see this cat right here?
Yeah.
That's not the one that we're sewing next, but this is definitely not garbage. Like you could make him work somewhere. You might lose his feet,
So
but
so this is off like geese topic, but how big of a scrap do you hang on to for maybe something later? Because
uh,
I've always been curious because when I was in paper crafting and I would go to events or classes or whatever, the amount of scraps people would save would make me crazy because I never did. I never saved. They would have to be at least like a 3x3 square or I would throw it out. So I'm
uh,
just curious.
oh yeah, okay. I'm worse than you, but I have gotten better. I did way back when during COVID, I was working full time as a first responder. I had no choice. I had to go to work, and
Right.
um, but then we suddenly had to start wearing masks and stuff, and there wasn't enough to go around, and I could sew. So I made something like in the first maybe 8 months of that COVID debacle, I made 1,600 masks
Wow.
for my coworkers and whatnot. And all those scraps, I chopped them up into 2-inch squares. What was scrap? And I made 2 quilts out of all of my scraps, 2-inch
Oh,
squares.
crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I still
So
have a bin of 2-inch squares. I haven't used them all.
so I think for me, like lately with my scrap, deciding what size scraps I want to save,
Hmm.
I gone my when I started doing this, when I started quilting, I was just throwing everything away the way I always did with paper crafting.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm saving more and more scraps, but I'm like, um, I think for me, like saving scraps when I have a closet full of projects that I haven't done yet makes me feel like
Look
I'm
it.
not like I don't know. Like it's weird. Like I'm like I've got more. I don't need to save this. I have more. I need to save this. I have more. But when I was working on this flying geese project, I loved this fabric so much. Like I
Yeah.
saved all the extra bits. So I just
Yeah,
couldn't help
so if
myself.
it's a big enough piece. So this is a teaching moment. You guys are gonna love this. Does anybody know what happened?
No, I wasn't watching.
I lost the bobbin race.
Oh, see
So
that that is a race always, right?
yeah, and this is another teaching moment. So I'm just gonna grab this one here. One of the other things that makes me successful with foundation paper piecing is the thread I use. When I'm making bags and garments and things, I'll use a 50 weight thread. This
Okay.
is this is an 80 weight thread. So what happens between all of these seams, you end up with a fabric and a fabric and a fabric and a fabric like this guy.
Right.
This piece right here is smaller than my fingernail, and there are 5 pieces of fabric that go into that one intersection. So if I had 5 pieces of fabric and 5 lines of stitching, it's just going to get thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker, and then it's going to be a bump. So
Right.
I use as thin a thread as I possibly can. And on my featherweight, I put my tail of my bobbin like a P, preparing to sew. And I will get my bobbin ready right here. It's good. And we're going to pop that back in there. And what happened when I ran out of thread, we're going to do it again. When I ran out of thread is I have to pull out some stitches. So I'm going to show you that too. Because
Okay. Awesome.
we're gonna get this going. So everything, the mulligan, everything that could possibly go wrong for you is going a little haywire for me, but that's okay.
No,
Because
it's
now
good to know because that's we all play Bob and Chicken, as Darla mentioned. We all play Bob and Chicken as long as we possibly can before we switch that out, right?
and I thought I switched it out before we got going here, but apparently I sewed farther than I thought I did. And then I just want to check here. And what happened when I did that, see how I'm crooked right here? And
Yeah.
then it ran out of thread, so it didn't go all the way across. So I want to show you something else, another tool. I like this tool. So people like to use a seam ripper. I get frustrated like anybody else when you have to use a seam ripper. And I have this guy on my seam ripper block because I'm cranky just like him. And
Ah,
when I get going with a seam ripper, I get dangerous, and sometimes I will put a hole in my fabric because I'm frustrated. So
gotcha.
what I tend to use, especially because these stitches are really small, this is a curved awl. Can you see the point of that?
Yep.
So it just does a little hook. And this stops me from like digging into my fabric. And I will just take the two right sides apart a little bit, and I'll hook this and pull it out. And if the
So
fabric,
it's
yeah,
not trimming, it's not cutting the thread, you're just pulling it out.
yeah, I'm kind of unbraiding it a little bit so that it's
Gotcha.
sticking. So it's sticking out. Long armors use these when your tension's off and you're trying to set when you're going, and then you have to take a row out or something. You don't damage the fabric because it's not poking into it. And so all I'm doing is just giving it a little tug until enough of those stitches came out, and that was that. So
Cool.
now we can do that one again. So we're gonna
So
put.
Lisa wants to know if you've ever sewn with a 100 weight thread.
I have actually. I think Wonderfil has that one. I just found Deco Bob maybe a year ago and fell in love with it. So I have it in like a bazillion colors. So that's
Okay.
kind of, how you find something you like and you kind of stick with it.
I do. I do. Yes.
And yeah. So that's how we stay married forever. We find
Right.
something we like and we stay with it.
We stay with it, even if they annoy us from time to time. We stay with
Right.
it.
That's why we have these hobbies and they have theirs.
Because ultimately we don't want to try again. Like I thought of
No,
trying again. I don't want
no,
to do that. So
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but we got married in 1994.
So I got married in 1995. So I'm
Yeah,
close. I'm close
uh,
there with you. Yeah.
long
We just
time.
did long time. When I
Yeah.
stop and think about it sometimes, I mean, phew, that's a long
Right?
time.
Yeah, yeah. It is you're like, oh, it's just a long time, but
It is.
it's
It's
work,
but it's it is.
but it's fun work, and he supports this habit. I support his habits.
Yes. See, and
I
that's the thing for me that's been like my husband supports all this that I do so much, and I go back and forth between I was scrapbooking all the time. Keisha and I would get together once a week and we would scrapbook. That
right?
I started working in the scrapbooking world. Now I'm doing this a lot and traveling for shows. And he holds down the fort for us. And he paints. Like when I'm gone, he paints.
Oh
He's
yeah,
been
your husband's
painting.
an artist, right?
Yes, yeah, he's been getting on this paint. Usually it's sketch artistry, but now he's been painting sketches on little canvases, and he's been having such a great time with it. He has my Glow Ultra. Well, one of them. I have more than one, but he has my Glow
Yeah.
Ultra set up in front of the TV, and he puts his little reading glasses on, and he has his little flex light thing attached to his baseball hat. And he has the light coming from below and the light coming from above, and he paints these tiny little things all day long. And I'm like, I don't know how you do that, but more power to you. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it keeps you sane. So I learned how to sew at a young age, but I was never very, very proficient at it. I had
Yeah.
a cousin, my aunt lived across the street with three cousins. And so two of them taught my sister and I how to put buttons on a shirt and make a shirt one year. But beyond that, I was always very, very crafty and never had formal sewing lessons or classes until I was 50 something and bought a brand new sewing machine for the first time that that
Yeah.
came with a how do you use this Bernina, I'm like, okay.
Right.
But I just like would figure stuff out and make things for the house. Or I don't know if you read my bio at all. I am a retired peace officer from California, and I did
Yep.
my long career, but I'm not going to pay somebody to hem my pants. I can do that myself, the blind hem
Right.
stitch or my
Right.
patches or whatever else needed doing. So right before I retired, I thought I want to learn how to quilt. I've never quilted before. And because I felt like, well, see, there I did it again. I felt like quilting's like the real sewing. And I had not done that. Right. I was afraid to
Right.
do that. And so
Same.
the year before I retired, I made something like 22 quilts that year.
Wow.
So as I knew that we were going to be moving and I wanted to leave something for everybody. So I made a
That's
lot, and
beautiful.
I learned a lot that year.
That's
All
amazing.
right.
That's beautiful. I just want to mention Linda and Judy both have us beat there. Linda got married in 1976 and
Yeehaw.
Judy in 1971.
Wow.
So they have us beat by a little bit, and but we're getting there. We're getting there.
20 something years beat. That's really
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy good. Yeah.
My
We're
only, yeah. Did you say you have a daughter that does so or wants cats on her?
no,
No.
she's just a cat lady. She turned 30 last year, and she's just a cat lady. She wants me to sew. Although when we were in Daytona and she would wander around, like everyone, how everyone carries their bags that they've made that they've quilted.
Yes. Yes.
And at those shows, and she's like, I need you to make me one of those. I'm like, no, I don't know how to do that. And
Yes,
she's like, I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure you can figure it out. And I'm like,
yes.
no, I've never done, I don't know. Like, cause to me, bag making is this whole other thing. Like like some of them are so crazy good and beautiful and pristine and the
Yes.
lining and everything. And I'm like, no, I don't do that. Um,
Yes.
and she wandered around and found some, I was like, well, go look at this booth down there. They have bag making stuff there. And she went and looked at them and she was like, you can do it. La la la.
Yeah.
She came back to the booth with like fingernail stuff and tea, and she won't sew. I'm trying to get her
Oh,
to. I think she will eventually. I think of any of my kids, I think she is the one that will eventually. But she knows how to a little bit, so she'll
oh.
be the one that does.
So
But she just
um,
hasn't done it yet.
this is well, I changed the size, but this is from a Minky Kim pattern, and
Uh-huh.
you're sewing vinyl and a zipper. But I used the light board because see, I centered my little octopus in there, and it holds my
Yep.
tools. This is a really
See?
basic bag pattern, somewhere that she could start with her stuff. It'd be that you could put a cat on that, something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh
We're
my
on our
gosh, she's
last
obsessed with
piece.
cats.
We're on our last piece, so I'm going to just press that one back,
Fold it and trim it.
trim it. You should see my floor because I'm real fancy here about what I'm putting on the floor.
I
Start
love,
with-
you know what I learned? This is a thing that I learned from, I will tell you, it's the funniest thing. I can't ever forget it. I learned it from Miss Hatch, my fourth grade teacher. And I've always done this, and I used to make my mom crazy, but she always said while we were working on projects in the classroom, just throw it on the floor. We'll just pick it up when we're done. Just throw it on the floor. We'll
It's
just
so
pick it
much
up when we're done.
easier. Yeah. When
I
I
still do that
try
with
to,
everything.
I can't cook that way. My husband cooks and he makes a mess. I got to go in there and clean stuff while he's doing it. It makes
Yeah.
him crazy. I can't handle it. But when it comes to this stuff, there's threads and scraps and things, and I'm going to finish the project and then I'm going to clean up. So here goes our
Yes.
last bitty. So I'm going
It
to.
looks like Keisha has joined us. She's hitting her 20-year wedding anniversary mark this year. She got married in
Yay.
2006, and we have some another 1994, 1978, 1981. Amazing.
Do you know what? I have to tell you what my son did on our 20-year anniversary. I have my older son. My son is 37 now. And my husband and I were, that was, 20 years is going to be a big one. So we were going to make a trip to Greece. That's what we were going to do, something really
Okay. Yep.
exciting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, he announced he was getting married that year. So we didn't go to Greece because we had to do a wedding. We had to do all that.
Yeah.
So we saved up and we went to Greece on our 30-year anniversary. And that was super, super special.
That's
By,
amazing. I love
yeah.
that.
By then I was
That-
retired and so I could really enjoy it. And
yeah.
yeah, I'm glad that that happened. So,
I'm
and
glad that happened too. Greece is beautiful. We we've been sort of enjoying traveling like we're retired, even though we're not. My husband is retired. I'm not yet, obviously. I don't know if I ever will be, but
well,
we
yeah.
we try to do something fun every year that we've never done. We take care of my dad, who is 89. He'll be 90 this year. And when we're not taking care of him anymore, I don't, things will change. We're going to move. So we won't travel so much for fun. I don't know what'll happen. So like we're trying to do everything we can when we can. My
Yeah.
husband had a heart attack last fall, and so we're
Oh,
trying to
goodness.
enjoy everything we can whenever we can. So guys, for those of you that have been watching along our lives for the last little while, speaking of, while Nina's finishing up her flying geese here, I bought tickets to go back to see the Backstreet Boys in the Sphere again this summer. So excited.
That's hilarious.
I went last summer, and then they extended it, and I wanted to go, and I didn't because it was through the holidays and into February, and I didn't do it. And then right after they finished their last show on the 14th or 15th, they made an announcement that they were adding 6 shows in July. So I popped on and I bought it, and I'm going again.
That's hilarious.
Because I have to. And I think unless Keisha goes with me, I think I'll be taking my husband this time. So
does he enjoy that?
He does. I've taken him to a couple of the shows. He loves how much I love it. But they're good shows. Like if you enjoy music and you enjoy a good concert vibe, which he does, he really loves going to the shows. They put on a really good show. And so we're excited. I'll probably have to take him. But it'll be super fun. But yeah, it's Eric, if you can get there, go see anybody. If you like the Backstreet Boys at all, any concert I would think in the Sphere is crazy good. So I'm super excited to go again. So that's our little fun thing for the summer, but I'm trying to think of something else we can do this year.
Oh, wow. It's just growing up where I grew up, it was a beautiful place to live and everything. But now being here in the mountains, it's just different, beautiful things with the mountains right here. And there's still so much to explore. And I think that both of my kids are going to make it at the same time here to visit. So I'll have.
Well, that'll be great. That'll be great.
Yeah, my son and his 2 daughters, and then my daughter. And if they all get here at the same time, it'll be a really wonderful full house.
That'll be amazing. I love that. That would be excellent.
Yeah, we'll have to. I don't know if we'll float they always do like a float of the Boise River, which is super fun. But the youngest granddaughter, she's only a little more than 1. And that might not be the best place for her. But the other one, I took her the last time she was here. We went on the float. It's a slow moving. Everybody's having a grand time with a life jacket.
Yes.
But she would sit on my lap while we'd be paddling, and she'd be again, Nan, again, and I'd grab her by the life jacket and dunk her, and then put her back in the boat.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. That's again, so great. Yeah.
Nan, again.
I love that so much. Cool. The mountains are a little bit of a different vibe than like the beaches of Greece California. Or whatever, but or California, but that's beautiful. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, so water, I don't feel like I left water. There's water here. Although I do have to tell you, the first time I went to a retreat was up at Lake Payette. And I'm like, well, how cold can the lake be? I mean, I'm used to San Francisco Bay. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I brought my swimsuit because I was working that particular retreat. And the other person I was working with thought I was hilarious. She goes, I'm going to videotape you. I told her, I said, I'm going in there. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. I need the other rulers. There it is.
You're like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Oh my goodness. But I did do it. I jumped in and I swam and And then the next year when I was working the same retreat, there was actually ice still on the lake, and there was no way I was going in that.
No,
That
no.
wasn't,
I would
that was
advise
not.
against that. Yeah, no.
So all I'm doing now in this particular one compared to the other one, this one I left all this edge paper on here just so you could see it. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to trim it to what it would be like if you were to use this in a bag for your daughter, or a jacket, or whatever you would be making. This would just make it a little bit easier. I'm taking it right to the edge of what would be your seam allowance. So now
Okay.
what you would be doing here is, if you're looking from this side, something to point with. This line right here is what your stitch line would be. And
Okay.
this line is the end of your seam allowance. So if I have a piece of fabric that is really big, let me find one. Here we go. Let's just, of course not. There's never a big piece of fabric when you want a big one. But let's just
Yeah.
pretend there was another piece of fabric and it was like a bag you were sewing it to. You would literally just be able to line up those raw edges just like that. And you'd be
Okay,
able to
gotcha.
sew right here. And then when you press this open, see how it would be part of that bag?
Yes, gotcha. Yep, yep. That makes sense.
And
Yep.
that's all you would have to do. So that is your four geese. And I have two four geeses.
I love that so much. I think you're trying to guilt me into making my daughter a bag, but that's okay.
I am, but I write some patterns. So I have a couple of bag patterns. None of them are really small for, I think, what you would want to make for your first one, but I would have
Right.
some suggestions definitely for you, for something that would, she probably just love. Would be perfect for a small
Yeah.
bag. I do a
I
lot of
love
big
that.
bags. And I actually do a bag for my husband because, we have to let them support us. So this is a pattern that is almost done being written, and he does competition shooting. So he shoots
Oh,
up
okay.
paper. And so this is, holds all his rounds for his rifle. So I do
Oh,
stuff like,
nice.
and he takes his 50 rounds because it's 40 rounds for the course of fire and 10 for sighting in, and there it goes. Stuff like
There you
that.
go.
Yeah.
See,
So
that's beautiful.
so
That's
I'm going
amazing.
to, yeah, I'm going to flip the camera back around if you give me a minute.
Yep. I will flip us back here while you do that. That, Nina, was so amazing. I so appreciate it. I feel maybe I could try it. I feel like maybe I could do it. And you're so amazing and sweet and generous, guys. Eric posted the link a couple of times where you can go get Nina's pattern for the individual flying goose if you want to try one, or the 4 in a row. You can download those and give it a try in this way. I think I'm going to give it a try because I feel like you made me feel like I could actually do it. I think that's so super cool.
That is, you just said it. That is why I like teaching. So I teach at my local shop often, and when I see people go, I can't do that. That's hard. My answer is, you can do it. It is hard, but let me teach you some tricks and tips, and then you'll be successful. And when you're
Yeah.
successful, I'm like super excited for you. That's what I like.
I love it. I love it so much. That is so great. Guys, everybody out there, thank you for sticking with us. Thanks for joining us. Eric just posted the link again if you want to download those patterns and give that a try. If you've never tried Flying Geese Foundation paper piecing style, this is a great way to do it. That was such great suggestions for the glues and the way you do it and the rulers and all of that stuff. I'm super excited to give this a try. Our Flying Geese challenge is still ongoing. Come back well through this week. I guess this is the last week of February. So come back on Friday. Lindsay is going to be wrapping our challenge up on Friday. And then next week on Monday, we'll be announcing our winner for February and starting our new March challenge. You guys can also pre-register for the Handmade Collective that is coming up in March. You can do that from the website, or there's posts on social media, or if you're on our email list, you saw that as well. We're excited for the Handmade Collective coming up next month, also towards the end of next month. That's going to be super fun. We're going to do lots of fun stuff there. We're going to be doing a sew along with Michelle from Legit Kits. We're going to be making,
yeah, we love Michelle.
Yes, we're going to be making the out of office kits, which my kits arrived while I was in Daytona. So Keisha, if you're still there, get ready. Keisha and I are going to sew along with you. We're going to do it. We're gonna try it. But that was a beautiful Flying Geese demo. Nina, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for doing that for us.
Thanks for having me. Super excited.
And that will, this way, like, guys, go download the single goose pattern. Do you still call it a geese or a goose if it's just the one?
I've been calling it a goose, but let me tell you one last tip. I use foundation paper. You can download it and print it on regular paper if you really are so new at it, you just want to try it and even see if you like it. You can sew on regular paper. The difficulty will be in taking the paper off the back. So when you do it on regular paper and then you're ready to take the paper off, get a tiny paintbrush, get it a little bit wet, and just wet the seam and then pull the paper off. That way you don't pull out your stitches.
That's a really good idea. I love that. Thank you for that tip, because that's what I was sitting here in my brain, like, where can I get that foundation paper quick? Maybe I could just do it on regular paper. That's where my brain was just going. So thank you for that tip. That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Okay. Then, a goose is singular. Do the goose, do the geese, do whatever you want. Join the challenge. Our challenge bundle with the Glow Premium and the tempered glass mat and the clear mat is still live this week. It's on sale for the rest of this month. So go check that out. I'm trying to make sure we checked all the boxes. Come see me later this week up in Puyallup, Washington. I will be at the Sewing and Stitchery Expo up there. Keisha will be at the Mid-Atlantic Quilt Show in Hampton, Virginia this week. So come say hi to her there. Come say hi to me up near Seattle. And guys, this has been so much fun. I'm so excited. You guys can pre-order. You guys can go order the Legit Kit, the out-of-office kit that we're going to be doing the sew along with. You can order that either from Legit Kits or through our website. It's the same kit. Either way, they will ship those off to you, and you can join the sew along during the Handmade Collective and pre-register. And a gaggle is a group of geese. So go make a gaggle of flying geese.
A gaggle of geese. Go
make a
geese.
Gaggle of geese.
Yeah,
guys, thank you again.
Out.
Yes, do all of them. Have a great, wonderful rest of your week. Come back on Friday to join Lindsay to wrap up our February challenge. And then we'll see you again next week on Monday for our first day of our March challenge. Off we go, on to the next, right? Okay. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.